When you have 15 people, and the 15 within a couple of days is going to be down to close to zero.
We will see more cases, and things will get worse than they are right now.
I think that goes away in April with the heat, as the heat comes in. It will go away, just stay calm, it will go away.
If you just leave the virus to its own devices, it'll go way up like we've seen in Italy.
The President of the United States says anyone who wants a test can have a test. Vice President of the United States says we don't have the testing capacity. People say, how can you say both things?
China is seeing very few cases now because their testing and shutdown was very effective. If a country does a good job with testing and shutdown, then within 6 to 10 weeks, they should see very few cases and be able to open back up.
Because of all we've done, the risk to the American people remains very low. But we're very, very ready for this, for anything. Last night I approved a major disaster declaration for the state of New York. This is the first time in our nation's history that a president's used the Stafford Act to declare a major disaster in response to a public health crisis. Never happened before. Every American has a role to play in defending our nation from this invisible, horrible enemy.
Said, hey, I need you to step in, do something like that. Do you have any interest in reaching out to Presidents Bush, Obama, Clinton, Carter, or talking to them? I'm just curious if that's something you would consider or not.
Look, I have the best people in the world. I think we're doing an extraordinary job. If you look at, let's say the H1N1, you look at that was a disaster. That was a tough period of time for our country. I respect everybody, but I feel I have an incredible team, and I think we're doing an incredible job. So I don't want to disturb them, bother them. I don't think I'm going to learn much. And, I guess you could say that there's probably a natural inclination not to call. Now, if I felt that if I called, I'd learn something, and that would save one life. It would save one life. Okay? I would make the call in 2 minutes, but I don't see that happening. Please.
I will only say to the President, I don't understand. And I think there are millions and tens of millions of Americans who don't understand what you are doing right now. You are not using the tools of your office. This is one of the greatest emergencies our nation has faced in generations. Every tool must be brought to bear. For some reason, you continue to hesitate. You are watching and waiting and missing every chance to be bold and to act to protect our nation. The President yesterday invoked the Defense Production Act. I have no idea why the President waited until March 18th to invoke the Defense Production Act, which has been used repeatedly in recent decades. Seems to me, given what we knew about this crisis, given that the City of New York held its first press conference to announce our steps on coronavirus on January 24th, I think the President could have invoked the Defense Production Act in February or even January, but he's finally done it. And we know the history that authorization allows for massive actions by the federal government to ensure that companies are producing needed goods and that they get to where they are needed most. However, the President has not ordered any of those subsequent actions, and this must change immediately. Here in New York City, we are 2 weeks or 3 weeks away from running out of the supplies we need most for our hospitals. The only way those supplies can be provided in time is through the full mobilization of the United States military. At this point, there's never been a greater no-brainer in the history of the Republic. How on earth is the finest military on earth being left on the sidelines? And it is beyond comprehension. It is immoral that our President has not ordered our military to full mobilization, because this is the great threat to our nation. When will President Trump give the order? That is
back to the State Department, or as they call it, the Deep State Department, if you don't mind. I'd like to have him go back and do his job. So does anybody have any question? Please.